There is a moment that every woman over 60 either remembers vividly or quietly longs for. It is not the grand romantic gesture. It is not the flowers or the candlelit dinner, though those things have their own sweetness. It is something far more subtle and far more telling than any of that. It is the moment when you notice that a man is paying attention to you in a way that feels different, a way that feels steady, a way that feels real. And you are not quite sure what to do with it because it has been a long time since someone looked at you that way, or maybe it has never happened quite like this before. And the question that rises in you is simple but enormous. Is this genuine? Is this man truly falling for me? Or is this something temporary, something surface level, something that will quietly fade the way so many things have faded? That question matters deeply, and today we are going to answer it, not with vague romantic notions, not with wishful thinking, and not with the kind of advice that was written for women in their 20s, navigating their first heartbreaks. We are going to answer it with clarity, with wisdom, and with the kind of grounded psychological understanding that women over 60 deserve to have access to. Because you are not a young woman just learning the language of love. You have lived a full life. You have loved and lost and grown and changed. You carry an entire landscape of experience inside you, and that means you need a different lens when it comes to understanding what genuine love looks like at this stage of life. So welcome to The Heart Decoded. If you are new here, this channel exists for women over 60 who have chosen themselves, their peace, their power, and their standards. We talk about relationships, emotional intelligence, psychology, and the deeper truths about love and connection after 60. And if that speaks to you, please take a moment right now to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you never miss a video made specifically for you. Now, let us get into it. When a man truly falls for a woman over 60, he cannot stop doing these 6 things. And I want to be clear from the very beginning about what we are not talking about. We are not talking about a man who is charming and attentive in the early weeks and then slowly pulls away. We are not talking about a man who shows up only when it is convenient for him. We are not talking about a man who makes you feel special in moments but uncertain in between. No. We are talking about the behavior of a man who is genuinely, sincerely, and deeply falling in love with a real woman, a woman who has earned her wisdom, a woman who knows her own worth, a woman who is not auditioning for his approval. And the behaviors we are about to discuss are not performative. They are consistent, they are organic, and they reveal something happening inside him that goes beyond attraction and into the territory of genuine emotional bonding. Let us begin with the very first thing. When a man truly falls for a woman over 60, he cannot stop wanting to understand her story, not just the edited highlights, not the version she presents at a dinner party. He wants to understand the full, complex, layered story of who she is, where she came from, what shaped her, what broke her and what rebuilt her, what she believes in, or what she has survived. He asks questions that go beneath the surface, and more importantly, he listens. He listens in the way that feels rare, the way that makes you feel seen, not studied, not pitied, but genuinely seen and genuinely valued. Now, this might sound simple, but understand how significant it actually is. A man who is merely attracted to you or who is with you for surface reasons will not have this quality of curiosity. He may enjoy your company in the moment. He may find you interesting in a general sense. But the man who is truly falling for you will find himself fascinated by the details. He wants to know about the road trip you took alone in your 40s. He wants to know what you were like as a young woman, what you dreamed of, what scared you. He wants to know about the friendship that changed everything, the book that altered how you saw the world, the moment you decided to stop living for other people's expectations and start living for yourself. And when you tell him these things, he does not move quickly past them. He sits with them. He comes back to them later in the conversation. He connects them to things you have said before. Psychologically, this deep curiosity is one of the most reliable indicators of genuine attachment. When a person is developing real feelings, they experience what psychologists call a need for narrative intimacy. They want to construct a comprehensive picture of who this person is because they are unconsciously and sometimes consciously building a future with that person in their mind. They want to understand how all the pieces fit together. And for a woman over 60, your story is extraordinarily rich. It spans decades of experience, transformation, reinvention, and depth. The man who is truly falling for you will not find that overwhelming. He will find it magnificent. He will feel privileged to be led into it, and he will be genuinely afraid of missing any part of it. Watch for this. Watch for the man who remembers what you told him 3 weeks ago and brings it up today. Watch for the man who asks the second and third question, not just the first. Watch for the man who seems to feel that time spent learning about you is never time wasted, because that man is not just passing time with you. He is investing himself in you. He is falling. The second thing a man who truly falls for a woman over 60 cannot stop doing is making himself consistently present, not just physically but emotionally and attentively. There is a kind of presence that goes beyond simply being in the room. It is the presence of someone who is genuinely focused on you, who has chosen to be here in this moment with this person. And when a man is falling for a woman over 60, this quality of presence becomes nearly impossible for him to suppress. This is different from a man who is simply available or who has time on his hands. Availability is passive. Presence is active. The man who is truly falling for you will show up in your life in a way that feels intentional. He calls when he says he will call. He follows through on plans. He does not create a pattern of wonderful moments followed by unexplained silences. He is there, and he is there in a way that feels warm and reliable rather than intense and suffocating. This distinction matters enormously, especially for women over 60 who have often experienced the exhaustion of chasing someone who blows hot and cold. True presence feels nothing like that. It feels calm. It feels like a warm light that stays on. Emotionally, what this kind of presence communicates is that you are a priority to him, not the only thing in his life, not someone he has become obsessed with in an unhealthy way, but someone who genuinely matters to him in the landscape of his daily existence. You are not an afterthought. You are not something he fits in between other things when it is convenient. You are someone he actively orients his attention toward, and that orientation feels consistent and sincere. For women over 60, this is particularly meaningful because many of you have spent significant portions of your life being present for everyone else, while not always having that presence returned. You were present for children, for aging parents, for partners who took your attentiveness for granted, for careers, for households, for communities. And somewhere along the way, being truly seen and truly prioritized may have started to feel like something that belonged to other people's stories. So when a man shows up with this quality of consistent, warm, genuine presence, it can feel almost startling. You might even find yourself waiting for it to stop, bracing for the moment when he pulls back. But the man who is truly falling for you does not pull back. He leans in further, and the longer you are together, the more solidly present he becomes. The third thing that a man who is genuinely falling for a woman over 60 cannot stop doing is respecting her choices, her boundaries, and her established life without trying to reshape or redirect them. This is one of the most distinguishing markers of a mature man who is falling in love authentically, And it is also one of the areas where you can most clearly see the difference between genuine affection and something more selfish. A woman over 60 has a life. She has built it over decades of experience, sacrifice, growth, and intentional choices. She has friendships that go back 30 years. She has routines that nourish her. She has preferences that are deeply hers. She has a relationship with herself that she has worked hard to develop. She has opinions, values, and standards that she has earned through lived experience. And the man who is truly falling for her does not walk into that life with an agenda to change it. He does not subtly suggest that her circle of friends is too much, that her time alone is excessive, that her hobbies are trivial, or that her way of doing things needs updating. Instead, he finds her existing life admirable. He is interested in it. He is respectful of the boundaries that protect it. And when she tells him something matters to her, he honors that without requiring extensive justification. This kind of respect is not passivity. It is not the absence of a personality or of his own needs. It is a sign of genuine maturity and genuine love. A man who is falling for a woman over 60 understands intuitively that she is not a project and not a younger version of someone he once knew. She is her own fully realized person, and that is precisely why he is falling for her. He does not want to reshape her. He wants to be with her as she is. This stands in stark contrast to the behavior of a man who might be attracted to you, but who is not genuinely falling for you. That man will often, though perhaps subtly, try to introduce small adjustments. He might have opinions about who you should spend time with. He might feel threatened by your independence or your contentment with your own life. He might push against your boundaries when you hold them, not necessarily aggressively, but with persistence or with hurt feelings designed to make you reconsider. And if you have experienced this before, you know how exhausting it is, how slowly and quietly it erodes your sense of yourself. The man who is truly falling for you will never do this. Your autonomy is not a threat to him. It is a feature he deeply admires. Now let us talk about the fourth thing, and this one is perhaps the most quietly powerful of all the six. When a man truly falls for a woman over 60, he cannot stop finding ways to make her feel genuinely safe. Not physically safe necessarily, though that is part of it in some circumstances, but emotionally safe. Safe enough to be honest, safe enough to be imperfect, safe enough to have a bad day and not lose his warmth, safe enough to express a difficult feeling without fearing that it will cost her something. Emotional safety is perhaps the single most important ingredient in genuine, lasting love at any age. But for women over 60, it carries an additional layer of significance because many of you have spent years in relationships or situations where it was not safe to be fully yourself, where vulnerability was met with dismissal or ridicule, where expressing needs was met with withdrawal or manipulation, where being honest about your feelings had consequences. And over time, those experiences teach a person to keep themselves carefully protected, to manage what they reveal, to present a curated version of themselves that minimizes risk. A man who is truly falling for you creates the conditions that begin to soften that protection, not by demanding it, not by pushing you to open up before you are ready, but by being consistently gentle with what you do share. He does not weaponize things you have told him in confidence. He does not become cold or distant when you express something difficult. He does not make you feel like a burden when you need something from him. He responds to your vulnerability with warmth and steadiness, and over time, that response accumulates into something that feels like genuine safety. And here is the interesting thing. When a man feels this way about a woman, creating this safety is not something he consciously decides to do as a strategy. It is something that flows naturally from how much he values her. He does not want to see her hurt. He does not want to be the source of her pain. He is, in fact, quietly afraid of that. And so his behavior naturally gravitates toward being reliable, being gentle, being trustworthy, because losing her or causing her to close off would feel like a genuine loss to him. That fear of losing you is one of the most honest indicators of love, and it reveals itself in how carefully he protects your emotional well-being. If you are wondering whether the man in your life has this quality, pay attention not to the grand moments, but to the ordinary ones. How does he respond when you are having a difficult day and it has nothing to do with him? How does he handle it when you express a concern or a frustration? Does he become defensive or does he stay open? Does he dismiss or does he listen? Does he make you feel like too much or does he make you feel like everything you are is exactly what he wants to be near? The answers to those questions will tell you everything you need to know. The fifth thing that a man who is genuinely falling for a woman over 60 cannot stop doing is showing up in the practical and everyday dimensions of her life, with care and consistency. This is the territory where love becomes real and concrete rather than theoretical and emotional. It is easy to feel deeply in the presence of a person you adore. It is another thing entirely to translate those feelings into reliable, consistent action over time. And the man who is truly falling for you does exactly that. This does not necessarily mean dramatic gestures or extravagant expressions of devotion, though those have their own beauty. What it means is that he pays attention to the details of your life and responds to them thoughtfully. He notices when you are carrying more than usual and offers to help without being asked. He remembers the appointment you were anxious about and calls to ask how it went. He picks up the thing you mentioned you needed when he was already out. He plans ahead for the things that matter to you. He shows up on time and follows through on what he says he will do. For women over 60, this kind of practical love language is deeply significant because you have reached a point in life where actions carry far more weight than words. You have heard beautiful words before. You have been charmed before. You have watched words dissolve into nothing when they were not backed by consistent behavior. And so the man who moves quietly and steadily through the practical dimensions of your life, who does the small things reliably and without fanfare, who demonstrates that he is paying attention to the details of who you are and what you need, that man is communicating something profound. He is saying, without saying it directly, that you are worth the effort, that caring for you is not a burden, that doing these small things brings him something he genuinely values. Psychologically, this kind of practical attentiveness is deeply connected to what researchers call behavioral investment. When we are genuinely attached to someone, we naturally begin to invest in their well-being through our actions, because their well-being becomes directly connected to our own sense of satisfaction and happiness. We do not need to be asked. We do not need to be reminded. The care flows organically from the feeling, and it expresses itself in the thousand small, quiet, consistent ways that constitute real life. And it is these thousand small things that you want to pay attention to. Not just the dinner reservations and the bouquets, though those are lovely. Look for the texted check-in on a hard day. Look for the time he rearranged his schedule without complaint because something important came up for you. Look for the way he takes note of what makes you comfortable and makes adjustments without being asked. These are the true love letters, written not in ink but in behavior, and they are the ones that tell you he is genuinely falling. The sixth thing is perhaps the one that will resonate most deeply, and it is this. When a man truly falls for a woman over 60, he cannot stop making her feel that her age is not something to be overcome or apologized for, but something that makes her extraordinary. He sees her decade clearly, and he sees it as a feature of who she is, not a limitation. He is not in spite of her age. He is enchanted in part because of everything her age represents. The grace, the depth, the self-knowledge, the calm strength, the way she moves through the world with a certainty that could never have been possible at 30. This matters more than almost anything else on this list, because we live in a culture that is not always kind to older women. A culture that often treats a woman's aging as a kind of slow disappearance, as though she becomes less visible, less relevant, less desirable with every passing year. And many women over 60 have internalized some of that messaging, perhaps without fully realizing it. They have started to feel that they are asking too much by wanting love at this stage, that they are somehow expecting more than their due, that real romance or real passion is a landscape that belongs to younger women. But that is a lie, and the man who is truly falling for you knows it instinctively. He does not experience your age as a deficit. He experiences the fullness of who you are, and that fullness includes every year you have lived. He finds your stories compelling rather than dated. He finds your wisdom attractive rather than intimidating. He finds your hard-won confidence far more appealing than the uncertainty of someone who has not yet figured herself out. He looks at you and sees a woman in full bloom, not a woman past her prime. And his attraction to you is not something he has to rationalize or justify. It is genuine, and it is present, and it is alive in how he looks at you and talks to you and treats you. When a man truly has these feelings, you will feel it, not just in what he says, but in the whole atmosphere of being with him. You will feel valued in a complete sense. You will not feel like you need to hide parts of yourself. You will not feel like you are in competition with younger women, or with his past, or with some imagined version of you that would be more acceptable if only she were a bit different. You will feel like exactly who you are is exactly who he wants. And I want to pause here and say something directly to the women watching this who are not currently in a relationship and who may be wondering whether this kind of love is still available to them. It is. I want you to hear that without qualification. It is. The love we are describing in this video, the deep, attentive, respectful, consistent, emotionally safe, genuinely enchanted love, does not have an expiration date. It does not belong exclusively to the young. In fact, many women over 60 report that the love they find in this chapter of their lives is the truest and most nourishing love they have ever experienced, precisely because they have arrived at it with so much more self-knowledge, so much more clarity about what they need, and so much less willingness to settle for anything less than what they deserve. The question is not whether this kind of love exists for you. It does. The question is whether you are ready to recognize it when it appears, and whether you trust yourself enough to let it in. Now, let us go a little deeper into each of these 6 signs, because understanding them at the surface level is one thing, but truly internalizing them, truly learning to read them in your own life and in the particular man who may be in your world right now, that takes a little more time and a little more nuance. Let us go back to the first sign, the inability to stop wanting to understand her story and look at it through the lens of what it feels like from the inside of the woman receiving this attention. There is something almost disorienting about it at first, especially if you are someone who has spent years having your experiences minimized or your history treated as background noise. When a man suddenly starts asking about you with genuine curiosity, your first instinct might actually be to deflect, to say something like, "Oh, it is not that interesting," or "You do not really want to hear all of that." And if you notice yourself doing this, I want you to gently ask yourself why. What is it in you that finds it difficult to believe you are worth this kind of sustained attention? Because often the women who find this hardest to receive are the ones who needed it most, and who were taught either directly or through years of experience that their inner world was not particularly valuable or interesting to the people around them. If that resonates with you, this is important information. It is not a flaw in you, it is a wound. And the beautiful thing about genuine love, the kind we are describing today, is that it has a way of slowly healing those wounds, without pushing, without demanding, without requiring you to process everything perfectly. Simply being consistently received, consistently listened to, consistently cared about, begins to restore something that may have been quietly diminished for a long time. So when you find yourself in the presence of a man who wants to understand your story, practice staying. Practice resisting the urge to deflect or minimize. Practice receiving his curiosity as the gift it actually is, because a woman who allows herself to be truly known by someone who is worthy of knowing her is not being naive. She is being profoundly brave. Now let us go deeper into the second sign, the consistent presence. One of the things that makes this particular quality so important to pay attention to is how different it looks and feels from its counterfeit, which is intensity. Intensity and presence are often confused, especially in the early stages of a relationship. Intensity feels urgent and consuming. It is the constant texting, the overwhelming attention, the feeling that this person cannot stop thinking about you and needs to be with you every moment. And while intensity can feel intoxicating, it is often not sustainable, and it is sometimes not even healthy. It is frequently a feature of early infatuation rather than deep, genuine love. True presence, the kind that belongs to a man who is genuinely falling for a woman over 60, has a different quality entirely. It is calm, it is consistent, it does not spike and drop, it does not overwhelm and then disappear. It shows up in the same reliable, warm way on a Tuesday afternoon when nothing special is happening, as it does on a romantic Saturday evening, when everything is beautiful and orchestrated. In fact, you can learn a great deal about the nature of a man's feelings by paying attention to how he shows up in the ordinary moments, in the unremarkable everyday texture of life, rather than only in the highlighted occasions. The man who is truly falling for a woman over 60 does not just show up when the setting is romantic or when he is in the mood or when it is easy. He shows up in the in-between. He shows up when it requires a little more effort. He shows up when he has had a hard day himself, but he still finds a moment to check in on you. And he does this not because he is performing devotion, but because his actual state of mind orients him toward you almost involuntarily. When something good happens, you are the first person he wants to tell. When something difficult happens, you are the presence he finds most comforting. This orientation toward you is not something he consciously chooses each time. It is the natural expression of the feelings that are developing in him. For women over 60 who have experienced the cycle of intense early attention, followed by slow withdrawal, learning to distinguish between intensity and true presence is one of the most empowering skills you can develop. Because once you can see the difference clearly, you stop being fooled by the intensity, and you start being genuinely moved by the presence. And you understand that what you are looking for is not the man who overwhelms you in the beginning, but the man who remains warm and consistent over time. That is the man who is actually falling. Let us move deeper into the third sign, the respect for her established life and boundaries. There is a nuance here that I want to make sure we explore fully, because the kind of respect we are describing is not simply the absence of controlling behavior. It goes beyond that. It is an active and positive appreciation for who she already is and how she has already chosen to live. A man who is genuinely falling for a woman over 60 does not just tolerate her independence. He celebrates it. He does not find her self-sufficiency vaguely threatening or emasculating. He finds it deeply attractive. There is something about a woman who knows herself, who has built a life she is proud of, who does not need him to complete her, but genuinely chooses to include him, that is extraordinarily compelling to a man of genuine quality and maturity. He understands that he is not her rescuer, her project manager, or her substitute for the life she has not yet had. He is her chosen companion, and the choosiness of her choice is part of what makes it meaningful to him. This is one of the reasons why women over 60 who have done the work of building a full and authentic life are often so irresistible to the right kind of man, because that fullness, that groundedness, that sense of a woman who knows who she is and what she values is genuinely rare and genuinely magnetic. You do not need to shrink to be lovable. You do not need to simplify yourself or pretend to have fewer opinions or fewer needs or fewer years of experience. Your full self, in all its rich complexity, is precisely what the right man will find most compelling. And when a man is falling for you in that genuine way, he will demonstrate his respect for your established life in dozens of practical ways. He will not show up unannounced and expect to be accommodated. He will not guilt you out of the commitments you had before he arrived. He will not position himself as more important than your friendships, or your alone time, or your rituals of self-care. He will work with the shape of your life rather than against it. He will ask about your schedule with genuine consideration, rather than using your busyness as a barometer of how much you care about him. And when you hold a boundary, he will honor it. He might express how he feels. He might share that it is hard for him in some way. But he will not use that expression of difficulty as a lever to move you off your position. He understands that your boundaries are not rejections. They are the architecture of the healthy, self-respecting person he fell for in the first place. And dismantling that architecture would be equivalent to dismantling the very thing he loves. Let us deepen our exploration of the fourth sign now. The creation of emotional safety. I want to talk about what this actually looks like in practice, because I think it is sometimes described in theoretical terms that can feel abstract. Emotional safety is not a feeling that arrives all at once. It builds slowly through accumulated experience, through the repeated observation that this person handles what you share with care, that your vulnerability is not used against you, that your imperfection is not held against you, that your needs are not treated as demands. One of the places where emotional safety is most clearly tested is in conflict. Every relationship eventually encounters disagreement. Moments when two people see something differently, when a need is not met, when a frustration surfaces and needs to be addressed. And it is in these moments more than any other that you can see whether a man is creating genuine emotional safety or whether the warmth he shows you in easy times is conditional on everything going smoothly. The man who is genuinely falling for a woman over 60 will navigate conflict with a particular quality. He will not shut down, storm off, or go cold in a way that leaves her feeling punished for raising an issue. He will not become aggressive or dismissive or turn the conversation back onto her flaws when she expresses something difficult. He will stay in the conversation. He will listen before defending. He will be willing to be wrong. He will care more about understanding and resolution than about winning. And after a difficult moment, he will not hold on to it or use it as evidence in some ongoing case he is building against you. He will return to warmth. He will demonstrate that the connection between you is more important to him than his ego. This is what emotional safety looks and feels like in its most concrete form. And for women who have been in relationships where conflict was handled badly, where disagreement was met with coldness, or anger, or manipulation, experiencing this kind of emotional maturity from a man can feel almost surreal. You might find yourself waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for him to reveal that this warmth in conflict is also temporary. But the man who is genuinely falling for you will show you consistently over time that it is not temporary, that his care for you is stable enough to survive disagreement, and that discovery, The discovery that this person is safe to be honest with even when it is hard is one of the most profound gifts that love can offer. Let us also go deeper into the fifth sign, the practical and consistent, showing up in the everyday dimensions of life. I want to address something that women over 60 sometimes struggle with, which is the acceptance of help and care. Many women in this generation were raised with the expectation that they would be the providers of care, the managers of others' needs, the ones who made sure everything ran smoothly, who noticed what everyone else needed and supplied it quietly and reliably. And in doing that for so long, many women have become deeply uncomfortable on the receiving end. If a man offers to help with something and you immediately say, "No, I am fine," or if someone does something thoughtful for you, and your first reaction is to feel vaguely uncomfortable rather than simply grateful, this might be something worth sitting with, because when we cannot receive care, we inadvertently close the door on one of the most beautiful ways that love expresses itself. And the man who is truly falling for you, who is trying to express his feelings through these practical acts of attentiveness and care, may eventually pull back not because his feelings have changed, but because his efforts are consistently met with a wall. Allowing yourself to be cared for is not weakness. It is not dependency. It does not compromise your independence or your self-sufficiency. It is an act of generosity toward the person who loves you, because it allows his love to land, to have impact, to mean something in the real and tangible dimensions of life, rather than only in the theoretical realm of feelings. Saying yes to the help, saying thank you for the thoughtfulness, allowing yourself to feel genuinely moved by the small, consistent ways he shows up. These are not indulgences. They are forms of emotional honesty and relational generosity that make love deeper and more real. And for women over 60 who have done so much for so long, for so many people, learning to receive without apology, to let someone take care of you without feeling guilty about it, without rushing to reciprocate immediately, without minimizing the gesture, this can be one of the most quietly radical things you ever do. It says, "I am worth caring for. I accept your care. I let it in." And to a man who is falling for you, nothing you could do would feel more meaningful. Now, let us go even more deeply into the sixth sign, the one about age, because I think there is something here that deserves a great deal of space and care. We have talked about how a man who is genuinely falling for a woman over 60 sees her age as a feature rather than a flaw. But I want to address the other side of that, which is what happens inside you, in the woman receiving that kind of acceptance and celebration. Many women over 60 carry a complicated relationship with their own aging. They may feel internally younger than the number suggests, which is completely real and valid. But they may also have absorbed enough cultural messaging about older women being invisible or past their romantic prime that they have developed a kind of preemptive self-deprecation about their age. They bring it up first, almost to get ahead of the rejection. They minimize themselves. They say things like, "Well, I know I am not young anymore," or "I understand if you want someone who is." And they trail off into an implication that is more damaging than they realize. Because here is what happens when we do that. We are essentially handing the other person our self-doubt and asking them to either confirm it or refute it. And neither outcome is healthy. If they confirm it, it wounds us. If they refute it, we may not believe them, because the doubt came from inside us, not from them, and their reassurance, however sincere, does not reach the place where the doubt lives. The only real resolution to that doubt is internal. It comes from your own decision to stop treating your age as a problem to be apologized for, and to start treating it as what it actually is, which is the accumulated evidence of a life well lived. A woman over 60 who has made peace with her age, who carries it with dignity and even with a certain quiet pride, is extraordinarily magnetic, not just to men, but in general. There is something about a person who is genuinely at home in themselves, who does not flinch from what they see in the mirror or make apologies for the years on their face, that commands a kind of respect and admiration that no amount of youth can replicate. Youth is beautiful, of course it is, but there is a different kind of beauty that belongs to the woman who has been through things and come out the other side still curious, still warm, still open, still genuinely glad to be alive. And that beauty does not fade with the passing years. In many cases, it deepens. The man who is truly falling for you sees this. He sees the beauty that belongs specifically to this chapter of your life, not despite the years, but through them and with them and because of them. And when you encounter that quality in a man, when you experience someone looking at you and seeing something genuinely wonderful, where you have been accustomed to seeing flaws, the most powerful thing you can do is not deflect it or minimize it or preemptively protect yourself from it. The most powerful thing you can do is simply let yourself be seen. Stand in the light of his regard and let it land on you, because that is what love looks like, and you are allowed to receive it. Now I want to take a moment to talk about something that sits underneath all 6 of these signs, a common thread that connects them all. And that thread is the difference between a man who is with you and a man who is genuinely for you. This is a distinction that is easy to gloss over in the beginning of a connection, when everything feels wonderful and the attention is abundant and the chemistry is alive and sparkling. But it is a distinction that becomes increasingly important over time, and that ultimately determines whether what you have built together will sustain and deepen or slowly erode. A man who is with you is physically present. He enjoys your company. He finds you attractive and interesting. He is not necessarily being dishonest or unkind, but his orientation toward the relationship is essentially inward. He is thinking about what he is getting from it, how it makes him feel, how you fit into his life and his needs and his preferences. When it is going well, he is happy. When it is difficult or requires sacrifice, he may begin to withdraw. When your needs do not align with his convenience, he prioritizes his convenience. He is with you, but he is not fundamentally for you. A man who is genuinely for you has a different orientation entirely. His attention is not primarily focused on what he is receiving from the relationship, though he certainly receives something beautiful from it. His attention has expanded to include your well-being, your happiness, your growth, your peace of mind as genuine priorities. He thinks about what you need. He considers how his actions affect you. He is willing to stretch beyond his comfort zone when it matters to you. He shows up not just when it is pleasant, but when it is required. And the 6 signs we have described today, all of them, are expressions of this fundamental orientation. The deep curiosity, the consistent presence, the respect for your established life, the creation of emotional safety, the practical everyday attentiveness, the celebration of who you are, including your age. All of these flow from the same source, which is a man whose feelings for you have expanded his world to include yours in a genuine and lasting way. Recognizing this distinction is one of the most important things you can do for yourself at this stage of life, because you do not have the patience, and frankly, you do not have the interest in spending your beautiful years with someone who is merely with you. You deserve someone who is genuinely for you, and those people exist. The 6 signs we have discussed today will help you find them and recognize them when they arrive. I also want to address something else, because I think it is important, and I think many women watching this video need to hear it said directly. These 6 signs are not just a checklist for evaluating whether a specific man is falling for you. They are also a mirror for evaluating the quality of the relationship you are in more broadly. because sometimes women over 60 stay in relationships that do not have these qualities, not because they do not know they deserve better, but because they have decided somewhere along the way that this is probably as good as it gets for someone their age. If that thought has ever lived in your mind, I want to address it with everything I have. That thought is not wisdom. It is not realism. It is the residue of a culture that has been telling women since forever that their value is primarily connected to their youth and their appearance and their capacity to attract the attention of men. And by that logic, as you age, your value diminishes, and therefore your expectations should diminish too. Do not settle too much. Do not ask for too much. Take what you can get. This is a lie, and I say that with absolute conviction. Your value as a person, as a partner, as a woman, does not diminish with age. In many ways, it deepens. The self-knowledge you have accumulated, the emotional intelligence you have developed, the hard-won clarity about what you need and what you will not accept, the capacity for genuine connection that comes from having actually lived and loved and lost and grown. These are not liabilities, they are extraordinary assets. And the right man, the man of genuine quality and maturity and depth, will see them exactly that way. So if you are in a relationship right now that does not have the 6 qualities we have described, I am not telling you to immediately end it. That is not my place, and relationships are always more complex than any list can capture. But I am asking you to be honest with yourself about whether what you have reflects what you deserve. And if it does not, to know that staying because you are afraid there is nothing better is not a loving choice for yourself. It is a fearful one. And you have survived things that are far more frightening than the unknown. You are more than capable of choosing yourself, even when that choice requires courage. Let us also spend a moment talking about what you bring to a genuine and loving relationship, because sometimes in conversations about finding love or recognizing love, the focus is entirely on the other person, on what they are doing or not doing, on whether their behavior measures up. And while that is important, it is only half of the picture. The other half is you, what you bring, what you contribute, who you are in the relationship. A woman over 60 who is genuinely ready for this kind of love. The deep, respectful, consistent, safe, celebratory love we have been describing brings things to the partnership that are rare and precious. She brings experience, she brings perspective. She brings the ability to distinguish between what is actually important and what is merely urgent. She brings the kind of warmth that comes not from the eagerness of youth, but from the earned generosity of someone who has been through enough to know that love is worth treating with care. She brings honesty, usually a great deal more of it than she may have been able to offer in younger relationships, because she no longer has the energy or the inclination to manage impressions or play games or pretend to be something she is not. She brings the willingness to communicate directly, to name what she needs rather than hoping to be read correctly, to express appreciation genuinely rather than taking things for granted. She brings a settled quality, a kind of unshakable center that comes from having done the work of knowing herself. And that settled quality is not a lack of passion or spontaneity. It is, in fact, what makes genuine passion possible, because it provides the secure foundation from which real intimacy can be built. So, as you go forward from this video, I want you to hold both halves of this picture. Watch for the man who is genuinely falling for you, the one who shows the 6 signs we have described: the curiosity, the presence, the respect, the safety, the practical attentiveness, the celebration of all that you are. And at the same time, be the woman who receives all of that with grace and openness and genuine self-belief. Be the woman who knows she deserves it, not because she has to convince herself, but because she has done enough living to understand that love is one of the most beautiful things available to a human being, at any age, at any chapter in any season of a full and meaningful life. I want to say something now about the particular courage that this kind of love requires, especially at this stage. There is a vulnerability in opening yourself to love at 60 that is different from the vulnerability of opening yourself to love at 25. At 25, you had most of your life ahead of you, and the risk of loss, though real and sometimes devastating, still left you with what felt like unlimited time to recover, to rebuild, to try again. At 60, that sense of unlimited time has shifted. You are more aware of the preciousness of each year, each season, each beautiful ordinary day, and that awareness can make the prospect of opening your heart feel higher stakes, more exposed, more frightening. But here is what I want you to hold alongside that truth. That same awareness of life's preciousness, the same quality that makes the risk feel larger, also makes the love itself more vivid, more intentional, more fully savored. Women over 60 who fall in love, who allow themselves to truly receive and return the kind of love we have been describing today, often describe it as the most alive they have ever felt. Not because it is the first time they have felt love, but because they are able to be fully present in it in a way that was not available to them when they were younger and more distracted, more anxious, more caught up in performance and expectation in the future. When you fall in love at this stage of life, you bring all of yourself to it. Not just the hopeful, romantic parts, but the wise, grounded, fully realized woman you have worked so hard to become. And that completeness, that fullness of presence, is what makes love at this stage potentially the deepest and most nourishing experience of all. The man who is falling for you, truly falling, will feel the difference of that presence immediately. He will feel that he is being met not just by someone who finds him attractive or who wants companionship or who is looking to fill a gap in her life. He will feel that he is being met by a whole person, a person with depth and history and warmth and standards and her own beautiful inner world. And that feeling, the feeling of being genuinely met by someone who is fully themselves, is one of the rarest and most extraordinary experiences a person can have. You have that to offer, your fullness, your depth, your hard-won wisdom, your capacity for genuine love that has been shaped and refined and deepened by everything you have been through. These are not small things. They are enormous. And the right man, the man who is genuinely falling for you, will know it. He will feel it, and he will not be able to stop showing it in all the ways we have described today. The curiosity, the presence, the respect, the safety, the practical attentiveness, and the celebration of everything you are, including every beautiful, powerful, wisdom-filled year of your life. I want to revisit something I said earlier in this video because I think it deserves more attention, and that is the question of emotional safety as it relates specifically to women over 60. We talked about how the man who is truly falling for you creates conditions that allow you to feel genuinely safe in his presence. But I want to add something important to that. True emotional safety in a relationship is always co-created. It is not something one person does for another. It is something that both people build together, slowly, through consistent behavior, and through the willingness to be honest, and the willingness to be vulnerable, and the willingness to stay in the conversation when it gets difficult. And for women over 60, the willingness to be vulnerable is sometimes the hardest part. Not because you lack courage. You have demonstrated enormous courage over the course of your life, but because vulnerability requires a particular kind of trust that has sometimes been broken in the past. No, it requires the belief that the person receiving your vulnerability will handle it with care. And if that trust has been betrayed in significant ways before, rebuilding the capacity for it is genuine work. The good news is that the 6 signs we have discussed in this video are precisely the behaviors that make that rebuilding possible. When a man consistently demonstrates that he is curious about your story and handles what you share with care, you begin to trust that you can share more. When his presence is consistent and warm over time, you begin to believe that it will continue to be. When he respects your established life and your boundaries, you stop bracing for the moment when he tries to override them. When he creates emotional safety in conflict and in difficulty, you start to believe that it is actually safe to be honest. When he shows up practically and consistently, you stop waiting for the reliability to dissolve. When he celebrates you in your full authentic self, you start to actually believe that you are worth celebrating. This is how genuine love heals, not through dramatic gestures or declarations, but through the quiet accumulation of experiences that say, over and over in 1,000 small and consistent ways, you are safe here, you are valued here, you are known here, and who you are is exactly what I want. There is one more thing I want to address before we close, and it is the question of timing. Many women who are watching this video may be in a situation where they are interested in someone and they are not yet sure whether he is falling for them. They may be in the very early stages of a connection and they are looking for signs, trying to read the signals, wondering whether what they are feeling is being returned. And I want to offer something gentle but important to those women. Do not rush the reading. Do not try to determine in week 2 whether someone is truly falling for you, because the signs we have described today, the deep curiosity, the consistent presence, the respect for your life, the emotional safety, the practical attentiveness, the celebration of who you are, these are things that reveal themselves over time. They are not things you can assess in a first meeting or a first month. They are things that emerge through the accumulated experience of being with someone across different circumstances, different moods, different kinds of days. What you can do in the early stages is pay attention to the direction things are moving. But is he becoming more curious over time or less? Is his attention becoming more consistent, or does it spike and drop? Is he showing respect for the things that matter to you? Or are there early signs of subtle dismissal or boundary pushing? Are you feeling safer in his presence over time or more anxious? These directional indicators are useful. They tell you whether the trajectory is promising even before the full picture has emerged. And in those early stages, rather than focusing entirely on decoding his behavior, I would invite you to also stay in touch with your own inner experience. How does it feel to be around him? Not just the excitement of early connection, though that is real and lovely, but beyond the excitement, the deeper texture of it. Do you feel easy or tense? Do you feel free to be yourself or carefully managed? Do you feel respected or subtly handled? Your own felt sense of the connection is extraordinarily valuable information, and women over 60 who have learned to trust their own intuition have one of the most powerful guides available to them. Your nervous system has been through enough to recognize the difference between something that is genuinely safe and something that merely looks that way on the surface. Trust yourself. Trust the process. Give things the time they need to reveal themselves, and trust that the love that is meant for you will be visible for what it is, not just in a single moment, but in the steady, consistent, warm, respectful, attentive, celebratory pattern of behavior that we have described today. Because that love is real. It exists. It is available to you. And the woman you are right now, with all your depth and your history and your hard-won wisdom and your beautiful, complete, fully realized self, is more than worthy of receiving every last bit of it. Before we go, I want to summarize the 6 signs one more time, because I think they deserve to be held clearly and completely. When a man truly falls for a woman over 60, he cannot stop wanting to understand her full and complete story with genuine curiosity and sustained attention. He cannot stop being consistently and warmly present in her life, not just in the grand moments, but in the everyday, ordinary ones. He cannot stop respecting and celebrating her established life, her choices and her boundaries, without trying to reshape or redirect them. He cannot stop creating conditions of genuine emotional safety, where she can be honest and imperfect and vulnerable without fear. He cannot stop showing up in the practical, everyday dimensions of her life with consistent attentiveness and care. And he cannot stop making her feel that her age is not something to overcome, but something that makes her genuinely extraordinary. These are not the signs of a man who is infatuated. They are the signs of a man who is building something real. And you, the woman reading these signs, the woman who has lived enough to understand the difference between performance and sincerity, between attraction and genuine love, you are exactly the woman that kind of man is falling for. Carry that with you. Now, before you go, if this video resonated with you, if you found something here that felt true and important and worth holding on to, please do 3 things. Subscribe to The Heart Decoded so you never miss a video made specifically for women who are done shrinking and ready to live fully on their own terms. Share this video with the women in your life who need to hear this message, the friends, the sisters, the women in your community who are navigating love and relationships at this stage of life, and who deserve the clarity and affirmation that this conversation offers. And leave a comment below telling me which of the 6 signs resonated most deeply with you. I read every single comment and I want to hear from you. Your experience matters here and your voice is always welcome in this community. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. The Heart Decoded exists because women over 60 deserve conversations that match the depth and richness of who they are. I will see you in the next video.